Welcome to week 2 on metadata keywords and ultimately collections. Hey, Adobe made some minor updates in the 2023 version of Bridge, and it changed the keywords panel somewhat. So this video is actually a little update, bringing your Bridge skills, if you have them already, up a little bit more as regards to keywords. They're so important, keywords. Let's talk about keywords, metadata, how they're related, and how we ultimately use them to point to and create collections. I'm in Bridge. Now, there are several ways you can set up your workspace. Of course, we've discussed this, but look at the very bottom of my screen. Here, let me get out of the way. You see that there are grid views with or without data. I'm looking at a grid view, but notice there's now a checkbox that says thumbnails only. If I uncheck that, it won't just be thumbnails only. I'll also get a good look at something we're going to call, because it is called, metadata. So I'm seeing colors, red. I'm seeing stars, 1 through 5. I'm seeing file names, shot dates, resolution or dimensions, something called portfolio, file size, some other details. If you see these things, cool. If you don't want to see these things, then at the bottom of the screen, just check thumbnails only. One minor change. That's it. Now, next door to that button, there's also a new change, a minor change. It says use the Command key or Control key on Windows for labels and ratings. Now, that's not a new feature, but it is a new way to access a feature that's up in your preferences. I'm going to check it and let you see that if I want to rate something or label something, here we go. Look up. There's a use Command key or Control key for these shortcuts. You see a second way to turn that on. That's new. If I have that checked at the bottom or pull up here at the top, then I'll have to hold two keys, the Command key and the number 1 to rate it a 1 star. Command and the number 6 to rate it, in my case, portfolio, just to set my ratings or my labels. And you're asking, what in the world are those things? Well, I've got a little diagram set up for you so that we can get a good look at how these new words are going to relate to us as we continue to work. So let me show you that. There is a great quantity, a group of data, of information about your photograph. It's not your photograph, it's the stuff behind the scenes. It's the stuff about your photograph. We're going to draw a distinction on that in a moment. Metadata, what kinds of things automatically get typed into metadata in a digital photograph? It's a brilliant piece of information about digital photography. It used to be in the old days, I would have to take a journal with me, and as I would shoot, I would write down the camera settings or whatever other information I wanted to recall later on. But all this data, metadata, comes for free whenever I take a digital photo. What kinds of things? Well, the camera settings, my ISO, my aperture setting, my exposure settings of all types, shot date, all kinds of things, okay? Those are in the metadata automatically. Now I can add metadata. This is a subset, labels, ratings, something maybe called edit history, keywords. These are subsets of a big circle of metadata. Metadata you get, it comes free when you shoot a photo, but some metadata you have the opportunity to add, and you'd love to do that. You would be very intelligent if you do that. Don't just observe, don't just take the metadata that's offered to you for free in the camera. In fact, go out of your way to add labels and ratings, even edit history, some other things, and let's by all means add some specialty keywords that the camera itself wouldn't know to add to metadata. You and I do that. We're using not artificial intelligence, we're using our intelligence to add and make the metadata more robust. How will it benefit us in the future? Well, all that stuff can be funneled through and filtered, that's a keyword, filtered out, so that I might create a really fast way to recall information. Saved search criteria. That's what collections really are. Take a picture of this screen, make a good note of this screen. This is going to help us organize these various words, metadata, labels, rating, edit history, keywords, and so on. And ultimately, we're going to utilize these to help us generate collections. Let me show you what I mean. I'm not going to need my journal because this is so powerful. This panel that was already open behind the scenes is being viewed in a very particular way. You may like it, you may hate it. I'm just explaining how it's different than what we just left. Look at the bottom of my screen. We saw the grid. We see some thumbnail views. We see some list views that show different types of data. That third button, not the grids, but the next, has a little space that can quickly reveal to me metadata keywords. Metadata, subset keywords. And so someone had to take this photograph and type Ahwatukee, the town where the photos were shot. Someone had to type Brett Barr, the customer name. Someone had to add the word Christmas or display or holidays or Lynn Bar or train set or village or Xmas. Someone had to do all of those keyword additions to what automatically came from the camera. It's extra data. It's metadata. Extra data. One way to see some extra data, keyword data, is to click that third button, Details View. There's a fourth view. I'm going to click it. It's called List View. List View is personally my favorite, honestly, but it lets me see into folders. I can sort them by name by clicking the word. Name, arrow up or down, just flips the order, alphabetical A to Z, or flip it, Z to A. Date modified or created. Click, what date did I create these? 7:15 p.m. Let's flip the arrow. Oh, now the first one was 6:53 p.m. What date did I modify these? Well, you modified these at 9:27 a.m. Well, flip it on a particular date. What size, what type, blah, blah, blah. Well, not blah, because look, there's a panel heading right there called keywords. And I can at a glance see what the keywords I've added to this set of photographs. Now, typically, I add keywords when I download those photos into my computer. I go out of my way. You want to also to add keywords immediately. Don't wait. You won't like you later. Do it now. Do yourself a favor and your customers a favor. So how do I do it? How do I add keywords? I'm just showing you where they are revealed. One of many locations, but this is a quick preview of those things. More on that. Hey, look to the left. Do you see a panel called Metadata? You do. And there's another one called Keywords. Oh, I thought keywords were metadata. They are, but they're so key that they get their own magical panel Let's look at the window menu. Has nothing to do with windows. It has everything to do with panels. Here I'm looking at my panels. What panels are checked? What panels are checked on your computer? It matters. It matters to you greatly. Just a word of warning for all of you. I don't check the filter panel. It really slows down my computer. It's constantly reading metadata and keywords and constantly trying to build separate magical panels of criteria. I don't leave it on. You won't want to leave it on. It's going to slow you down. By default, it's on. Turn it off. How do I turn it off? How do I turn it off? Sneak up there and just uncheck it if there's a check by it. If there's not a check by it, leave it. I'll show you when I use the filter panel. In fact, we could do it right now. Let me look at my filter panel. I turn it on when I need it, and I turn it right back off when I don't. What it does is it's looking in this particular directory or folder of images, and it's saying, hey boss, here's some stuff that I found. I found that 4 of these photos have not been rated. Oh, I see 2 of these photos have been rated 4-star. 2 of them have been rated 5-star. And I can filter that out here by clicking, well, just show me the 5-star. And just like that, it filters. Now you can add multiple criteria. I'm going to open the keywords filter. And it says, I found these aren't typed by me. I found these keywords in this directory. Oh, well, can you show me train set? Now notice it's saying I'm finding 5 stars that also contain train set. So as you add these check boxes, it continues to add criteria that must be met in order for it to filter down your view. If I uncheck 5-star, they all show up again. Why? Because all 8 have the keyword train set. I'm showing you the filter panel. I'll uncheck even that. What else might I find? Well, ratio. 2 of these are 16:9 crop. 2 of these, one of these is a 4:5 crop. One of these is a 3:4 crop. And one of these, you get the idea. So I can sort by crop. Let's close those down to make more space. Well, what about aspect ratio? What about exposure time? Seriously? One of these was a 30-second exposure? Which one? That's a brilliant way to find stuff. These various aperture values were used. Oh, these focal lengths were used. And on and on and on it goes. Now, I notice, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major headings, 6 major headings, 7, 8, 9, 10 major headings. Well, in this directory, it found that many headings. Let's close the filter panel. I don't want to see it automatically. You don't either. Let me go somewhere else. Let me remind you of some things, some words I've been speaking, but I haven't yet explained. I haven't explained ratings. I haven't yet explained labels. I've only talked about the major category, metadata. All those things are subcategories. You've seen me mention keywords and where I might see them. Here's what I'm suggesting. Turn on keywords. Open that panel. Turn on metadata. Open that panel, at least. And then, in my case, I go back to the window menu and I go to Workspace and I save what I just turned on and what I just turned off and where I move things and which buttons across the bottom I checked, all these things. And I saved it as Rick's Keywords, Workspace. How? Well, I set all that up, and then I went down to save as a new workspace. Take everything I just did and save it, and you're going to see there are some minor tweaks to this language also since the 2023 update. Save this as a new workspace, give it a name, Rick's Keywords. And it remembers everything you've done. Now, if I go back up and I say, well, I really wish you would use the workspace called Rick's Grid, everything changes. In fact, my keywords panel just dropped to make more room for the metadata panel. And I see more of something called favorites appear. And if I tap an image, oh, it filled in this gorgeous form, informing me of metadata, hardcore metadata. There's a lot of stuff going on in this metadata panel. There's a quick little sticker, by the way, right there. I call it a sticker, little label, little sticker that when you click something, it says, hey, let me just show you quickly the high points. This was shot at f1.4 at 1/4 of a second. Spot metering was the exposure mode. It was set to manual or whatever, and the ISO was 64. Oh, okay. All that is going to show up in the quickies. Oh, 2.8. 2.8, 5.6. I'm watching all that shit. It's just a quick sticker area, right? Another quick sticker area of resolution or dimension, height and width. But what follows is really up to you. What do you wish to see? File properties. Let's take a peek. And by the way, watch I almost did something without explaining it because my hand just took over my brain. When I got to the right side of the panel, I was about to push. So look how my cursor turned into a skinny number 11 with 2 arrows. Really skinny number 11 with 2 arrows. And that says, you want to push? Yeah, I want to push. And I can make more or less space. So I could ask for file properties and not see anything if it's too skinny. So I'm just pushing. Thanks, hand. Here's the file type, here the date. I'm scrolling. There are the dimensions. This is a lot bigger than the stickers told me. It's an RGB file, it's untagged, and so on. All the metadata, including the subset metadata, shows up here if you do something. Now, there's a little space here called iptc legacy, iptc core, iptc extension, iptc don't know what I'm talking about. Let's go find out what iptc is. There's something called Exif. You're going to see that show up in the metadata panel. Look, there it is. Down below, iptc. There it is, camera data, Exif. What's Exif? I just did what you could do. We're just going to go, I don't know, look it up on the web. Exchangeable image file format. If you're ever on a game show. What is it? Hey, it's a format for images and sound and digital cameras and so on. Okay, it's metadata. I just want you to know, Exif is metadata. Well, what is iptc? And how is it different than Exif? What is it? I'm just scrolling. I just did a search. Well, what's the difference? This is kind of hopeful, useful. Exif data concerns the technical details of the image, camera data, such as the equipment used, my camera, and so on. It focuses on the content. iptc focuses on the content of images, together with their status as regards to ownership, copyright information. Rights, I own the rights. And licensing, did you get a model release? So one is iptc is a bit more user-centric. I have to interact with it. Exif data comes automatically from my camera. There. Why does it matter? Because it can show or not show in your metadata panel We've already set our prefs, but let's go back and review. My Mac users are finding the bridge preferences here. You PC users knew that you found your preferences under Edit. I'm just the messenger. Go find your bridge preferences. And when we got there, under Metadata, what do you want to see in the panel? Anything with a check will show up in that panel. And instead of clicking every single thing one at a time, you can click the big parent box there at the top and turn things on or off. Get it all or not. So you see file properties, attributes, blah, blah, not blah, I'm seeing iptc legacy. So apparently in the old days, this was how iptc data showed up. Well, I turn it on in case I'm working with older files. I turn it on. But then there's the new and improved iptc. You know, it's core, they tell me. So, all right, fine. Stuff about me. What's my job title? Where do I live? How do people contact me? What's my website? Information. I want to sell my photos, so I want them to find me. Here's an extension to the core. Really? Event. Oh, I was doing it for the Crohn's convention. I was doing it for the political campaign of so-and-so. There's going to be a little field where you'll be able to type the event. Is there a model? Yes. What's the model's age? And on you'll see all sorts of extra data. All of that, 3 sets of iptc data. What do you want? I want file properties. Right now I'm just clicking everything. Camera data, yeah, give it to me. I want it all. Give me all the camera data. Do you want to know what fonts are used? I don't know how fonts are even used in a photograph. I'm going to leave that off. Remember, Bridge is the queen, you'll learn more, the queen mother of all of the Adobe apps. Well, some of the Adobe apps use fonts. Adobe InDesign, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator. And so I might, oh, well, turn that on. I want to see what fonts are in a particular file set, and on and on. Okay, I'm getting down to Camera Raw. When you edit with the Camera Raw filter, do you want to see those edits over there? I do. Audio and video, if you're shooting audio and video. Edit history. Oh, do you want to see the edit history? I do. I want to see what I did, then what I did, then what I did. These are the kinds of things you could add. Okay, I'm going deep, I know. But here's one I turn off. I don't leave on. It's called DICOM. DICOM. Now look at some of the metadata that's in DICOM. Patient name, patient ID, date of birth, patient sex. These are for medical. And you might want to know nowadays when you get an X-ray done or a CT scan, it saves raw files. Those fancy high-end medical cameras save raw files. And if I turn this on, I could add all that data to the customer, to the patient's files. So I'm not a doctor and I don't even play one on TV. So I don't check any of that stuff. That's it. I just want you to see that metadata has a bunch of checkboxes and it affects what you see when you get to the panel. So we're going to review that. We did. Let's talk about labels and ratings. Did you want to use the command key or the control key? No. There's a third place you see that I could turn that setting on or off. One was the bottom of our screen. I've already shown you that. One was up under the menu for labels, and it's right here. Now, more importantly for you is what the labels will be. I have a red label option, so do you, but I've changed the name of red to portfolio for me. So when I label something red, it labels it portfolio. How can I do it quickly? I could select a photo and just tap 6 right there. And 6 sticks that photo into my portfolio for me automatically. More on that. Now, I live with a woman who's a very objective soul. She looks at my photos, which I can't tell which ones are good or bad, and I wait for her to tell me. And so I've created a label called Susan Approved. If Susan goes, that's crap, that's crap, that's crap, I like that one, I tap a number 7 on my keyboard with it selected. Susan Approve it. When my customer is over my shoulder, my customer looks at all of my Susan Approved images, or all the ones I put in portfolio, the best of the best. Those are the ones I show my customer, and when they're over my shoulder and they go, ooh, I want that one and that one and that one, I change the label from 6 or 7 to 8. They've selected it. Those are the ones they're going to buy. I have a couple of miscellaneous labels I use. Portfolio second. They came in second. And some images that I use, I wouldn't sell them, but I do use them to teach from. I call those class demo. But notice, there is no last place keyboard shortcut. And so use that last label as your least used label. And I'll show you how to find that from a menu item. All right, I showed you that there's some metadata prefs that we are already setting, and they're important. We've set our label and rating settings. We double checked, and now there are some keyword. Just take a look. The importance here is number 1, automatically apply parent keywords. That's important. Just make sure that you've got that checked. You should, if you've already set your prefs the way we explained. All right, I'm done. I'm going to say, okay, I'm just reviewing. I can change my workspace. I can change my layout. You saw me earlier go to Window, Workspace, and choose something. Well, these top few, until I run out of real estate, automatically set themselves at the top of my window, right here. The first one says Rick's Metadata. The next one says Rick's Grid, Rick's Export, Rick's Keywords. There they are. So I can click. It's a keyboard shortcut. Show me my metadata-centric workspace. I like using my metadata-centric, I'm going to reset it, workspace. Why is it metadata? Because I have a bigger chunk of real estate for my metadata. Oh, how about my grid? Sometimes, hey, that doesn't look very gridish. I'm going to reset that. Sometimes my view wants to be like this, like little thumbnails or slides. That's my grid. Maybe when I'm going to export my photos for printing or Facebook or Instagram, I set it to my export. But here's one called Keywords. You've already seen it. It's the one that I've given a lot of real estate to keywords. I don't have to drag all this. I have those preset as buttons across the top. Wow, that was a lot of ramp up for keywords. Hey, I'm looking at this panel. Can you find the keywords column? Can you tell at a glance which of these photos has keywords and what they are at a glance? Oh, you found it. There it is, the keywords panel. And the keywords for this first image are colors. Now, when you got keywords from Adobe, I guess one of them is colors. No. In fact, when you first look at your keywords panel, you have a very paltry set of keywords from Adobe. There's hardly anything useful over there. They're just trying to convince you that you could put stuff here. And they have something like cities or places to visit. And you'll see New York and San Francisco. They're just giving you an idea. I'm going to show you how to build a master custom keyword set, or steal one from a friend and just automatically load it and use it. If you have a friend, oh my goodness, who is such a nerd, such a geek, that they've spent so much time creating all the various keywords they think anyone might ever use. If you have a friend who's a nerd like that, you could, oh my gosh, it goes on and on. You could have that nerd send you their keyword list and you could just import it and use it anytime you want. Here we go. I'm going to look at my keywords panel, and there's a tiny little, oh, itty bitty, they call it a flyout menu. Some people refer to this as the hamburger. I've heard people call it the pancakes, whatever. It's this thing right here that we're talking about, the flyout menu, right by keywords. And I'm going to tap it, and you'll notice it says I could export. What Rick Burress has done for you is I have generated a list, very extensive list, combined it with another nerd photography friend of mine. We both tried to cover each other's bases. We've combined it, and if you want it, here it is. I can export it, and it creates a text file. I'm going to call it Rick's Keywords. I'm going to save it up to my desktop. Not Rick's Key 7 words, Rick's Keywords. Now notice, very important, the file type it's saving in. TXT. How many choices do I get? 1. You get TXT. The keywords file is desirous of and will export TXT, not RTF, not rich text format, not Microsoft Word docs. It wants it as a TXT file. Just know that. I'm exporting it as a TXT file. There it is on the desktop, ready and willing for you to send me an email saying, Rick, may I please have your keywords file? And I'm just going to send that back to you as an attachment to your email request. And it looks like this, right? Let's pick it up. Rick's going to put it on email. He's going to reply to you. I don't know who you are yet, but you're going to, and it's going to show up as an email with an attachment. And when you get that attachment, you're going to take that attachment and save it. In my case, I'm on a Mac. I can drag it. It's already got one, I know. And I'll send it to you. What are you going to do with it? You're going to go to your keywords flyout menu, and you're going to do this. If this is the first, if you're a newbie at keywords, follow me. Go to clear and import. And what it will do is it will clear out your bogus Adobe only keywords list. It's going to wipe it to 0. There'll be nothing over there. Clear it and import Rick's Keywords. Now, if you've already keyworded some photos, it does not wipe out the keywords in the photos. It only wipes out this list over here. So I'm going to do it. Trust me. Watch me. I'm doing it. I'm jumping off the cliff first. I'm going to wipe out my keyword list and import this keyword list. Do it. And something happened. I saw it flash, whoosh, bang. It's done. And you'll have all of my keywords. Now you're going to see when you look at the keywords list, they're alphabetical, where numerals appear at the top. 256 pixels, that's one of mine, 512, and so on. Aberration has an interesting little triangle next to it, a little arrowhead. That means something, of course, it does, right? Let's click it, and it goes, well, inside of aberration, so now it's an outline. I have 2 flavors of aberration. That's the big geeky camera word. There's chromatic aberration, which is color badness, and there's chromatic aberration. It turns out to be light badness in the corners of images. Whatever. The arrowhead is my point. The arrowhead says, hey, activities. Let's look at activity. A photo shoot is an activity. Well, what other activities? Now notice this time I tapped it. I tapped activities. And back at the flyout menu, I'm going to create a new keyword, a new sub keyword, a new activity that's indented. under activities, new sub keyword. What's another activity? Photo editing might be. I'm not just taking photos in a shoot, but I'm editing. Boom. I hit enter or return. Or tab. I just added another activity under activities. Oh, what's something else I enjoy doing? Let's do it. New sub keyword is animal watching. Bang. Return. I was out in the desert one day watching this animal, and I was at the beach and I saw this animal, and I was at the park and I saw this animal. I've got 3 photos where I was animal watching. So watch this animal as I sneak over there and I click a checkbox by animal watching. And as I do that, I want you to notice what changes, what happens. Check here. Hey, you were animal watching. It goes, yep. What else? It trickled up. It checked animal watching, and it automatically checked the parent of animal watching, which was called activities. What else did it do? Look over here at the side in my keywords panel. Now activities, comma, animal watching, comma, has been added to all 3 activities, animal watching, activities. So when you check a keyword, it adds this searchable phrase or searchable word, searchable topic to your photos. Can we review a little bit? It's metadata. Why do I care? Because metadata are all these little searchable pieces of information. Aside from the viewable information with your eyeballs, it's data. What kinds of stuff? Camera settings, that's Exif. File names, that's Exif, E-X-I-F. Date shot, oh, that's Exif. Labels, oh, you saw how we would do that. Ratings, we're about to get there. Edit history, that's automatic if I turn on that pref. Keywords, you're watching me do it. Why do I care? Because it all gets funneled into a very useful thing called a collection, which will save my search criteria. All right, that was the keywords panel, keywords column, but look next to my keywords column and you'll see there's a label column. And when you tap any image anywhere in your hard drive, you can sneak up to the label menu and see that one gets to be red. What is red? It's portfolio. Why? You saw me. I went up to preferences and I changed it. So if I hit the number 6, it will label it portfolio. Just so you know. By the way, at the top of this, I see stars. Ratings and labels live in the same apartment. Labels and ratings. Now, each photo can have only one label. I can't have portfolio and select. It's an either or. Every photo can't have more than one rating. I'll be positive. Every photo can have only one rating. A 4 or a 5. Not a 4 or 5. Not a 4 to 5. It's a 4 or a 5 or a 3 or a 2. It's one or the other. But every photo can have both a rating and a label. You'll want to start using both. How does it work? When my images, let's have a little look here, okay? I'm going to go to my favorites folder and click on my main photo folder on my hard drive. This is going to be tons of photos, 65,000 photos laying loose all over my computer perhaps, or at least loose in this folder, maybe even organized in this folder, but they're all in one gargantuan box. And I'm going to sort by date created. And so it says, here's the last photo folder you took. Here's the previous one, and all the way to Sierra Nevadas. I can go and look. Here they are. As soon as they come off my camera, I stop. I click once, and I spacebar in Bridge just to get a good look. What did I do? I hit the down arrow. Down arrow, down arrow. Ooh, ah, ooh. I'm just looking, and as I go through, oh, if I catch myself making a sound, oh, I immediately hit a number on my keyboard to rate them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hit 3 on all my keepers on the first round. What's still in the running? I hit 3. Now if I hit 3, bottom left just told me, hey, you just gave this one a 3. And then I go down to the next object, and the next one, and the next one. Eventually I go sort by rating. And rating says, Rick, here are all your 5s at the top, then your 4s, then your 3s, then your 2s. Well, when I begin, right, I see a bunch of 3s. And so I just go back and look at the 3s. And then I decide which of those is the best. And I'll do 4s or 5s at that point. Oh, that's a 5. I hit the number 5. I'm re-rating. Remember, it's an either or. Down arrow. Oh yeah, that's a 5. And so on. Now, something else I could do is go, you know what, that is killer. And I want that one in my portfolio. I've got a 5, but my shortcut for rating the portfolio, even in this preview, was to hit 6. Now watch the bottom left. And it goes from a customer select to red. It's a portfolio item. So I just labeled it portfolio. It made a red label sticker. I had a 5-star. I could do all of that manually out in a menu if I wanted by just saying, oh, that's a 5 and it's portfolio. But I do it as soon as the images come off the camera so that I can gauge. It's a 5 and it's a 6. It's a label. Portfolio spacebar. I go out of my way. What else might I do? Well, I'm going to select all my photos. I'm going to select edit menu, select all my photos. And what keywords do all of these share? Well, they share California. Let me go at the bottom of my keywords panel. Let me search. Do I even have California as a, oh, I do. Look, I did a search. I searched for California and it said, yeah, you've got that in your list. Well, look up. It's in a main heading called Places. Indent. Here's some places. California is a place. But when I twist it open, here are some places in California. And apparently Sierra Nevadas has a place inside it. So when I select all these images and I say these are all at Kearsarge Pass, I click that. What does it do to all the parent? It checked Sierra Nevadas for me and California for me and places for me. It put all those there and it put all those there. What good does that do me? Well, later on, I could go back to my main photo box. It's everything, and look up. I can do a search in Bridge. There's a big search field, not just in my keyword search, which is what I had done a moment ago, but I'm searching the entire folder for, hard drive for, specialized search criteria. Word of warning. There's a little magnifying glass. And Adobe thinks that you just want to give them more money. And so what they'll do is say, hey, why don't we only let them search Adobe stock photos. And that, by the way, is the default of Bridge. I hate it. I'm going to go no. So make a new choice. Search whatever the current folder is that you've clicked on. That helps. Don't search the whole computer. Every search is much slower if you do that. So I click a folder and search the folder. How did I do that? That was right here. This is showing me previous searches that I've done. All right, so here's what I do. There's a favorites panel. I make sure I see it. I make sure that in my favorites panel, I have my big kahuna photo folder. That's my photo directory. It's not my whole hard drive, but it's everywhere that photos would be found. I've clicked it. And then I say search. Sierra. Let's do that. Sierra. Oh my gosh, how long did it take to find 58 photos in a giant box of 65,000 photos? How have you been looking for your photo shoots? How have you been looking for your photos? Not like this. If you'll add keywords, you can instantaneously, nearly, find anything you want. Wow. I gotta try this again. In my main photo folder, I'm looking for horses, I don't know, enter. Now, it's going through 65,000 photos, and it's still working. At the bottom of that screen, it's still, oh my gosh, it was still searching. When it found nearly 1,200 horses, it took a little longer, but it immediately started packing this window full of those images. Horses. I wonder how it found horses. Was it by file name? If it were, you'd have to put the word horses in every file name. You're going to run out of file name space pretty quick. So I don't use the file name for anything but the photo shoot. I don't use the file name for the date. I don't waste the file name space with the date. Why not? Because the date is already stored in metadata. You can search for it. I don't waste that space. Keywords: animals, Arizona, backlighting, cowboy, horses. Keywording. Let's go back to my main. Check it out. I want to do a search for portfolio because I've got a customer interested in looking at my stuff. And just like that, what did it find? It found anything with either the label portfolio or, here's one, with portfolio as a keyword. It found labels, it found keywords, it finds file names, it finds metadata. It's going to sort for you automatically. All right? It's fast. If you've got a customer over your shoulder and they want to see your wedding pics, gee, I wonder what I'm going to type. Wedding. Well, how can I get away with typing wedding? Well, because anytime I shoot a wedding, I'm going to select those images and apply the wedding keyword and I'll be done. I'll be out. Okay? That's how it works. Did I misspell? I think I did. Oh, 2 I's for wedding. I was like, really? No wedding photos? Boom. All right, so just like that, because of keywords, and when did I add them? I added them as soon as they came off the camera. Do yourself a favor. All right, let's have a little fun. In my keywords panel, I'm going to say, here's a keyword I don't have yet. Let's do this. I don't have a keyword called toss. I know I don't, so let's just play with it. But that image needs the keyword toss, and so I'm going to go search in my keyword panel for, do I have toss? I don't have toss. So when you search and you don't find it, work with me. Go right back up to your keywords panel and say new keyword. And when you do that, it automatically adds the one you search for. It adds toss. Now, because I had something highlighted already, it added toss inside that. So you can pick it up and drag it wherever you want it to be. I want to sort it out. I want to pull it out. So be cautious when you go to make one if something's already highlighted for you. It really doesn't matter, except I want to be organized here, okay? Right now, something is highlighted. Nothing's, it is, something's, I don't want to highlight anything. So I'm going to leave the keywords panel. Maybe I'll close it. I'll reopen it. And I'm going to just examine. Yeah, nothing's highlighted. So if I type treadmill and I don't have it, I don't have treadmill, I'm going to add with nothing highlighted. It becomes a main, not indented item. All right, this is what I do. This is how I add them. If I don't have one already, I do a search. Oh, I don't have that. I add it if I think I'll ever use it again. I hate treadmills, and so I'm going to go click on treadmill and right click or control key click on the Mac and delete it. If you never want it, get rid of it. It's only deleting it, remember, from the keywords panel. Do I have something called toss? Oh, you know I do, and there it is. I'm going to delete that also. Delete it, delete it. Now something is highlighted. I don't want something highlighted. I'm trying to, I don't want it. So I'm just showing you what I do. I'm going to close that keyword panel, reopen that keyword panel. Oh, I opened the wrong one. Reopen that keyword panel. And is toss in there? It's not. I'll add one, new keyword, and it's a main keyword. This photo needs that checked. I did it, and there it is in my panel. I can now search for toss later on if I want. I don't want to have your fun for you, but I'm going to send you that keywords list when you ask for it, and you can have a little fun scrolling through it and seeing what kinds of things I've already created. You continue to add to this, but I've got times of day, golden hour, blue hour, or morning, afternoon, and so on. I've got places. You enjoy. That's a general overview of keywording. But now it's time to jump through the funnel. And this is magic. I'm going to look up, and there's a panel called Collections. If you don't see it, window, make sure that Collections is showing. I want to see my collections. Now, I hear often from Lightroom fans that they love Lightroom because it has collections. And they use that as an argument against not using Bridge, as if Bridge doesn't have collections. And I tell them, well, you know, Bridge has it too. And I've never seen anyone not be shocked by that. They're a Lightroom user. Oh, it does? Yes, it does. Of course, we need it too. We want it. Collections. Let me show you what collections do. There are two flavors of collections. You want them, by the way. We're going to go through the funnel. There are two kinds of collections. The first one is a dumb collection. I rarely use these, although I do. A dumb collection is it creates a folder. Those are supposed to look like folders. It creates a folder that you hand drag photos into the collection. Now, I might do that if I'm getting ready to go print some photos. I might create a collection called Print. And I'm going to drag and drop the images I want to print into that collection. Let me show you. Here's one, Print. Now, that is a dumb collection. It's a dumb collection. How do you know it's a dumb collection? Well, notice it's just a folder. But I want to print this image, so I'm going to drag it into my Remind Me to Print. Remind Me to Print. Let me go back to my favorites. Oh, I want to print that one. I'm going to come back to Collections. It's highlighted. Back to my Collections. And it needs to be printed. I'm going to drag that into the print. Now there are two to be printed. Oh yeah, that definitely needs printing. It's me. Who's putting the photos in there? It's me. It's me. I'm doing it. That's one flavor of collection. Do I use them? Yes, but rarely. But I always use a smart collection because I don't have to do the work. Who does the work in a smart collection? The computer. You want the computer to do the work. Let the computer compute. And that's what that little gear is. It's a smart collection. Here we go. A little fun. Let's create a new smart. Whoa, a lot more choices. It's smart, but it requires you to help it. I'm going to create a new smart collection. What am I going to call it? I'm going to call it Massive Hikes. That's what I'm going to call it. That's the name that's going to show up here in my collections panel. Where should I begin looking? On your entire computer? No. Look in my big photo folder. I've got tons of photos in there. In fact, I've got tons of folders in there with photos in there. It's all my photos. Look in there. For what? For keywords that contain hike. Now I can add. Or, and right now it's going to be an or whose, look at all these search criteria. Copyright notice. Can I do keywords twice? Yeah, or whose keyword contains Kearsarge, because that was a massive hike. Let's do it. And if I look down, it says if any of these are met, if the keyword is hike or Kearsarge, that's what I want you to do. But you could also say, no, only if all the criteria are met. It's got to say hike and Kearsarge and be 5-star rated and on it goes. You've got all sorts of criteria that you can add. Rating, label, file names, copyright notice, descript. I don't want to have all your fun for you. It's exhaustive. If we just keep going, this course will take 3 or 4 months. I'm going to just leave it at that. And let's say okay. And look. It just boom, just like that, it found hikes. And what was it? It was M collections. Oh, I got to get up. I've got a section of dumb collections at the bottom alphabetically, and then there's a separator. There's the separator. And now I'm in an alphabetical category at the top of my smart collections. And I'm looking alphabetically in the M's. Massive hikes. And it remembers that search criteria forever. Next month, I want to go find photos that had lens flare. I'm going to click lens flare. What is lens flare? Someday I imported photos and I went, ooh, that one has a lens flare. I clicked the keyword lens flare. Anything that had a lens flare, I clicked it. I can do a search for lens flare. What else do I do a search for? Well, here's some fun things. I do a search for portfolio. Bang, I've already saved a smart collection that automatically looks completely dynamically across my entire photos folder for anything I've ever labeled portfolio. And it keeps it up to date. So if I add something, it puts it in here for me. I don't have to do it. It's going to do it for me. I'm looking E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, Kearsarge. You and I earlier just labeled that as portfolio, and lo and behold, there it is. It's an automatically updated, completely built, ready for action, most recent version of your portfolio. It's a great example of this. I'm going to click something called balance. Something else I've added to my search criteria, to my keywords, are 7 composition techniques. there are 7 composition techniques. And if I want to teach you what they're about, balance being one of them, I can click balance and I'll show you images that have balance as a composition technique. Now, I do a photo shoot tomorrow and 3 of the images have balance as their composition technique. I select all 3, I add the balance keyword, they'll show up here. Rule of thirds is a composition technique. The great Brian F. Peterson calls it the suggestion of thirds. There's the suggestion of thirds. I shot that photo. I used the suggestion of thirds and the rule of thirds, and I keyworded it when it came in so I can search for it later. Now, there's a massive rule of thirds. The big version of rule of thirds is called the Fibonacci sequence, the Fibonacci pattern, the golden mean, the golden ratio, the divine ratio, the divine mean. All of those are phrases that talk about the real rule of thirds, which ain't thirds. And if I want to show off what that looks like, I've got one of those composition techniques set up as well for where I place my subject in the image. I'm showing you examples. Show me 4s or 5s, things I've rated 4s or 5s that are my photos. Here's a 4,5, copyright Rick. Just like that. Whether I put them in my portfolio or not, if I rated them 4 or 5 and they are copyrighted Rick Burress, they all just showed up. I want 4s or 5s shot at ISO 64. What? All of these are safe search criteria. Symmetry, repeating patterns. Now it's getting boring. If I keyword, I can do a search. Let's review. Of more than file name. I can always search anytime I want in any particular folder by typing that word at the top. So long as you tell it not to search only your Adobe stock. They're trying to sell you stuff. And I'm going to do a search for Saguaro, if you know how to pronounce it. I live in the desert of Arizona. Here you go. So I just did a search for that. I didn't have to save it. In fact, I didn't save it. But if I want to save it after doing one of those, I could also do Command F or Control F. And notice what it thinks. Did you want me to look in the folder you're in and either by file name or keyword, remember this saved search criteria? And I could say yes. When I do that, it may be asking me for a name, and I'll type the name as I save that Saguaro saved search. Save it out. Now, you can always just add your own. You're presented with the same panel. You can name it at will. If I keep doing this, I'm going to have a ton of those over there. I don't mind it, actually. Saguaro is now stored and saved for me in my smart collections, not my dumb collections. Oh, let's go up to the S's of the smart collections. there it is, Saguaro. Images shot at a particular college campus. Images that say I shot these from a lower point of view, right? Find me those things. Look how fast I'm searching. I'm doing this with such ease and such comfort. I'm certain that you'll come up with some questions regarding metadata in general, keywords as a subcomponent of metadata, or ratings or labels, or EXIF or iptc. Why is it worth going out of our way to add metadata that doesn't exist yet? Keywords. Why does it matter? Because it ultimately helps me do searches later. I can do finds very fast, but I can also save those search criteria forever. Sold. square, star trails, story, signature. You might have a smart collection for your spouse's name, for your children's names, for your favorite places to vacation names, certainly. And then just do quick finds when your friends come over or you're trying to sell images. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. You write me, you let me know what you need. As always, I'm Rick, and you can't see, but it says I will shoot for food. Have a great rest of the bonus videos. Again, questions about anything in either week 1 or 2, send them to me. I'll get back to you at this Yours Day video.